So you're very distractible today.
I am.
Seems like it. All right, let's do this example. In your journals, write this down. Example 1. We're going to find negative 4 1/7 minus 5/7. First step is to write the equation. They're going to make it difficult. Yep, I'm not teaching it this way. Yuck. Nope, we're not going to do it that way. Let me open my screen. I don't know why they're going to make things so difficult. All right. Negative 4 1/7. That's my fantastic handwriting. Minus 5/7. Write that in your journals?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, what do we need to check before we do addition and subtraction with fractions? What's the first thing we check? Look at to make sure we can do this. Yes?
It's in the right order.
No. Anybody else? Yes, Izzy.
Is it negative or positive?
Nope. Anybody else have a guess? I'll give you a hint.
Oh.
Joaquin?
If the denominator.
If the denominators are the same, addition, subtraction, fractions, always look at the denominators. That's your first thing. Are the denominators the same here?
Yes.
Yes. So that makes the subtraction easy. All right. So when you have an improper, a mixed number like this one, 4 1/7, we need to make it improper to do the subtraction. So to make it improper, we multiply 4 times 7 and add the 1. What is 4 times 7? Plus 1 is 29/7. Just keep the negative there. Over 7 minus 5/7. Woo, hold on, that's not a 5. Okay, so all I did was change the mixed number to improper. Now I can do my subtraction. We know the denominator is going to be what?
7.
So it doesn't change. We have a negative 29 minus 5, so this is going to go further negative, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, I'm going to add these two numbers and put a negative in front of it. So what's 29 plus 5?
39.
Not 39.
No.
34.
34 is correct. 34/7. He's trying to rush. So negative 34/7. What is my last step?
Simplify.
Simplify. How many times can the 7 go into 34?
5. No, 4.
Yeah, 4.
7 times 4 is what?
28.
So then you put a big 4, and we subtract 28 from the 34. Don't worry about the negative. What's 34 minus 28? So I'm left with 6/7. And then I leave it negative because the whole problem was negative.
Whoa.
Much easier than the absolute value mess that they were trying to teach you.
Yeah.
Any questions on how to do this? No? All right, I believe you should do your try-its now. Let me minimize that. Close that. Yes, try-its 1 through 3. Go ahead. 7th grade, get your journals out.
I feel like you're not doing like how we're teaching it. It's doing the absolute value.
Let me click. Yuck. Nope. Why do they make this so difficult? No, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it my way.
Yay.
All right. So, everybody ready? This is example 2. We're going to find 2.4 minus 5.6. All right, so with decimals, what's the first thing you do with decimals?
Yes.
You just line them up.
Ah.
So instead of it being horizontal, I'm going to write this vertically, 2.4. Line the decimal up. So 5, the decimal lines up with the decimal, 0.6.
Oh, 5.6?
And then we're subtracting. Now, is my answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative, because this is huge, right? But I can still subtract here. What is 4 minus...
Negative 2.
Now, what
Don't worry about the negative at the moment. 4 minus 6. So we got to borrow, right?
Yes.
So this becomes a 1. 14 minus 6 is?
8.
There we go. Okay. I don't feel like this is going to work out.
You gotta put the 5.6 over. And then it's,
Yep.
and then it's negative 6.
Yep, that's not the way to do that.
5.6 over the 2.4.
Yep. Because the 5.6 is bigger, you have to put it over and then just make it negative.
Ah,
Apologies.
that's fine.
5.6, 4 point what? Nope, 2.4. Right?
Yes.
And then you just have to remember, since the 5.6 was bigger and it was negative, your answer is going to be negative.
2.4.
Wait,
6 minus 5 is 1.
No, it was 2.4.
Oh, I understand. I was like, what are you talking about? 4. Let's try this again.
2.
So yes, we get 2, and 5 minus 2 is?
3.
And then because the 5.6 was negative, then your answer is negative.
3.2.
So you do have to pay attention.
That's like a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to understand the absolute value stuff,
But why do the hard?
but why not do it my way, which is so much faster?
Because
You're only gonna use the easy way in life.
I wouldn't agree with that statement. All right,
Outside
so
school.
we're going to keep going on the examples because you guys wasted a lot of time. So you do have to do the triads. This will just have to be homework. Okay, so go to the next example. Example 3. Woo, that looks fun. All right, we're going to evaluate 1 3/8 minus 8 1/2 minus a negative 6 7/8. Let me see what they say. All right, that's fine. Okay, so the first thing you do is you write down the problem. So write this in your journals. Negative 1 3/8 minus 8 1/2 minus a negative 6 7/8. Just do this first part right here. Don't worry about the second half for the moment. Everybody got it? All right, so the easiest thing to do, remember we're subtracting fractions here, so what's the first thing we look at? The denominator. Oh, is the denominator the same?
no.
No, we have one that's different. So the first thing you could do here is rearrange, which is what they did here. So you see we rearranged to put the 1 3/8 plus the 6 7/8. Why is it plus 6 7/8? Because it was subtracting a negative, and 2 negatives make a positive. So that's why you have plus 7/8. And then I would not put plus negative 8 1/2. I would say minus 8 1/2. That make sense?
Yes.
So I would do that. So you'll have negative 1 3/8 plus 6 7/8 minus 8 1/2. Don't worry about that plus sign. That'll just confuse you. All right, so everybody got it written?
No.
That's a horrible 6. Let me try that again. Trying to write with a mouse is so much fun. Okay, so this is the first half of what you rearranged, right? And then over here you have minus 8 1/2. So I'm just going to ignore the minus 8 1/2 for the moment. Let's just simplify this part. I can because they have the same denominator, right? So I'm just going to add. I do not have to make this improper if I don't want to, because I can be intelligent about my addition. But some of you, it will be easier to make them improper first no matter what. So let me show you how you can just add it without making it improper. So the first thing you want to add is the top of the fractions. Okay, so I have my denominator is going to be 8. What is 7 plus 3? 10. Okay, now let's add the coefficients. 6 plus 1?
7.
7. Now to simplify this, this is bigger than the 8. So I have to get rid of 8 parts of this 10 and add that one whole number. So if I do 10 minus 8,
2.
I'm left with 2 over 8. And then I have to add one whole number to this, which makes this 8, right? Does that make sense? Did I do that slow enough? If this is very confusing for you, then just make both of these fractions improper and you'll still get to this 8 and 2/8. Can I simplify this 2/8?
Yes.
What do I get?
1/4.
2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 8 4 times. You did it. All right. So now I need to bring down this mess that we did earlier and subtract my 8.5. I'm going to make a new screen. Does everybody have this? Yep. I didn't think everybody had it yet. Write it down. So I'm going to do minus 8.5. But I'm going to switch screens to do that. All right, has everybody got to this part?
Yes.
All right, 8 1/4 minus 8.5. So we're going to do 8 1/4 minus 8.5. All right, subtraction of fraction. What's the first thing I look at?
Denominator.
Are they the same?
No.
No. Can we make this one a 4?
Yes.
By doing what?
Timesing it by 2.
Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite the beginning. 8 1/4 minus 8 2/4. Does everybody agree with his assessment?
Yes.
All right, so now I can subtract. What is 8 minus 8?
0.
So the coefficients are gone. What is 1 minus 2?
1.
Negative 1. So then your answer should be negative 1/4. Very carefully.
Really, it would be all over the page.
Well, usually if I have to write on the screen, I use my iPad. But I haven't figured out how to connect it all so that it can all be recorded at the same time. So I'm using this whiteboard app, so I have to write with my mouse. Supposedly I can write on here, like with a stylus, but I don't have a stylus here. I need to bring my stylus. Supposedly. I'm going to test it, but not right now. All right, does everybody have this?
Yes.
Let's see if we got the same answer. No, they got negative 3. So what did we do wrong? Somebody catch it? Move my face. Okay, let me go back a page. So they got 5.5 here. 1 3/8 plus 6 7/8. How on earth? Oh, it's a negative. Oh, y'all didn't catch me. Look at this. This should be a negative 1 3/8. See, teachers make mistakes too. All right, so we're gonna do this again.
No.
But now you know how to do it if it were positive. All right, so let's do it again. We have. This is good practice, guys. So I have a negative 1 3/8 plus 6 7/8. Y'all talked about my handwriting and it got worse. Okay, and then remember way over here is minus 8.5, which we're not going to mess with because the denominator is not the same. All right, so let's do this the improper fraction way so you can see both ways to do it now. So what is 8 times 1?
8.
Plus 3?
11.
So this is 11 over 8, and it's a negative. Plus, what is 6 times 8?
42. I mean, no.
48.
48.
Plus 7?
55.
Good job. Over 8. Okay, so now if I were to add these, this is a negative 11, this is a positive 55. The denominator stays the same. So what is positive 55 plus a negative 11?
It will be 44 over 8.
44. Yay, we got rid of our negative because the 55 was much larger. So now how many times, let's make this improper again, how many times can 8 go into 44?
Yeah, 5.
5 times. What's 8 times 5?
40.
So subtract 40. What's 44 minus 40?
4.
4.
Over 8. Can I reduce that 4 over 8?
Yes.
So I would get 5 and 1/2. Yay. Question. Okay, now we got to subtract the 8.5. Okay, has everybody got that so far? I can wait just a second. In your journals? Got it? All right. I'm going to make a new page. So we have 5.5 minus 8.5. The nice thing is now our denominators are already the same, aren't they? So now we can just subtract. Now I can make these improper, but shortcut, are these fractions the same?
Yeah.
So a half gets rid of a half, doesn't it?
Yes.
So I can just do 5 minus 8, which is
Negative 3.
negative 3. Questions?
No.
All right, so now you had 2 different examples there. A little extra bonus for you guys.
That could be a question.
All right, so then you have self-assessment. More triads.
Yes, there's 2 more. 4 and 5.
So, all right, so now we need to look at this key idea. Distance between numbers on a number line. This is in your books, if you guys have books and you're following along. The distance between any 2 numbers on a number line is the absolute value of the difference of the numbers. Whenever you hear the word distance, think absolute value. And whenever you hear the word absolute value, think distance. All it's asking you is from 0 to that number, how far is that, whether it's positive or negative. Or, in this case, it might be asking you how far is it from this -2 to a +6. And it just wants the distance. So you would say 6 plus 2. Okay? Questions on that? All right, let's do an example. So, find the distance between -1/3 and -2 on a number line. Go ahead, Mateo. So you're going to draw a number line, and you're going to put a dot at -2, and then another dot at -1/3. You can see their number line, they broke it up in between the whole numbers by how many spaces?
2.
3. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 spaces because why? The denominator is 3. So whenever you see a fraction, that denominator tells you how many spaces to break it up in between the 2 whole numbers. Does that make sense? All right. So how do we find the distance between these 2? Mathematically.
2 minus
All you got to do is add 1/3 to the -2 and find the distance. And find the absolute value of that. So if you have -2 minus a -1/3, it's the same thing as saying -2 plus 1/3. Write this in your journals, guys. What is -2 plus 1/3? -2 plus 1/3, -1 2/3. Make sense?
Yes.
What's the absolute value of -1 2/3? It's just a positive 1 2/3. Okay, so what's that saying, guys? That's saying from this -2 all the way to this -1/3, this is 1 2/3 distance. That's all that's saying. Any questions?
No.
Okay, anybody else? Questions? We feel okay with this? You took -2 minus 1/3, minus a -1/3 to find the distance. To find the distance, and then that gave you your absolute value is your how far it is. Questions? All right, let's go look at the last example. Loading. Now the big idea is it's not even going to work for me. Oh. What is example 5?
Yes.
All right, so this is your real life word problem. The number line shows the temperatures on each side of the James Webb Telescope when in Earth's orbit. Find and interpret the distance between the 2 points. So they gave you a vertical number line. On the hot side, you see this telescope right here? On the hot side, it's 185 degrees Fahrenheit. On the cold side, it's negative 388 degrees Fahrenheit. That is a huge difference. What's the question it wants us to solve here? The distance between the 2 points. What's our 2 points? Positive 185 and negative 388. How would we find the distance? Subtract the difference. Okay, when I subtract a negative number, what am I actually doing? Adding. Very good. What's 388 plus 185? 573. Everybody follow that? Right here we had 185 minus a negative 388. These two negatives next to each other make a positive. So that's why we got 573. Comprende? Sam, are you paying attention to me at all? Because you're sitting with 8th graders who keep talking across your face. Across your face. 8th graders, make sure he's paying attention. Don't distract him. All right. Any questions on how to do any of this? Okay, this is your assignment. You need to have the try-its and the self-assessments completed by tomorrow. So, it seems like you guys are going to have homework. You can take your books home. Okay? If your big ideas online magically works, you can do it online, but you've already done half of it on paper, so you may do it on paper and turn that in tomorrow. All right, can I close this? Are we still writing?
No.
Nope, still writing. That's fine. Let me click off for just a second. I'll go back to it. I just want to see how many self-assessments you got. I have it here. So you're doing all the way through number 17. Okay, 7th grade? All the way through number 17 is your assignment. Yeah. Peppermint's good for everybody's stuff going on. All right, I'm going to stop recording, so good luck on your lesson.